Okay, thank you all for coming. We are still not too many, but okay. So today we will be talking about the machine learning and real-time bidding, and be patient with us. The subject is pretty new, so of course we have some expertise, but in general, I'm not a fan of being on the stage, so I'm not a natural one, so don't be judgy. Okay, so let's begin with the small intro. That's the agenda we will cover today. And yeah, Richa, do you want to start with introducing yourself?
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I am the founder and CEO of the company Content Guru, and we do a lot of content for marketing and education. And we create a lot of digital content that could be websites, right from the branding part of it to social media, and as well as digital marketing. So that's a brief introduction of myself.
Yeah, and I'm Natalia Nogacka. I know it's pretty hard to pronounce. And I'm CEO and founder of Collabee, which is the first matchmaking platform for marketing freelancers. And we basically allow them to collaborate together on personalized projects. So we customize the experience of our clients. So instead of creating the demand, we actually respond to demand. Okay, so let me move to the subject. So, Richa, could you please tell me and the audience, what is the real-time bidding actually, and what its impact on the digital marketing?
So, real-time bidding is actually a part of programmatic advertising. So, what really happens in real-time bidding is that there's a publisher that opens up an ad space. Suddenly, in fact, let me just backtrack a little. There's a user who goes on to a particular website or an application or a social media site, and it's like the publisher quickly tells the, asks for a real-time bid based on the user's credentials, based on the user's preferences, user's demographic, user's past history. They find people who are willing to advertise for this particular profile. Now what happens is in literally milliseconds, there's a real-time auction, there's a real-time bid, people put out bid, the person who gives the best bids, ad comes out. So that's really real-time bidding in a nutshell. Now it's becoming increasingly popular in the advertising world, in the marketing world, because you're actually getting to your exact target audience. And so you're not actually allocating your funds or your budgets in advance, saying that, okay, when someone visits anyone who visits this website or anyone who searches for these keywords will get my ad. Instead, what happens is when they find someone who matches your target audience or target user profile, they will immediately set out a bid, and if you win the bid, then your ad comes out for the people who need it.
And what are the advantages of real-time bidding?
So if we talk about the advantages, like I said, that it's a very efficient way. It's a very, very targeted advertising. It goes exactly to the user who would be interested in your product. So for example, if Natalia, if I see that you're wearing, spectacles, for example, and they have that data, then maybe you will get a very targeted advertisements for frames or accessories, or maybe even a visit to the eye doctor. Who knows,
Yeah.
So it becomes it's a very, very targeted way of going about things. Also, what happens is in real-time bidding, you can manage your budgets. You can actually plan how much you want to spend and then spend that money accordingly with this audience. And thirdly, what happens is that you are actually doing you're getting data on your ad impressions, on the clicks that your ad is generating, on maybe even conversions, whatever your KPIs for that particular ad is, you actually get that information, how the ad performed, and you can then adapt your advertising to that, with this data-driven approach, rather than, going with guesswork and saying, oh, some people appreciated our ad, or maybe people are buying your product, but they're not seeing your ad. Perhaps they are, here it tells you which click generated a sale, so you know how your real-time bidding is working.
That's very interesting and helpful, and not so far from the machine learning itself.
So my question to you on machine learning, Natalia, is that what is it and what is its role in digital marketing?
Yes, so probably as some of you know, machine learning is actually part of artificial intelligence. And it's based on the algorithms which are constantly learning, and they are able to predict new data. So basically that's something which humans will never be able to do in such an extent. And it has a huge impact on digital marketing already. I assume most of you already tried the ChatGPT generator or other tools which are helping to create content or optimize the page or anything like that. But it also helps in many more ways. For example, in customer segmentation. So basically, it can analyze the customer data based on the purchase behavior, demographics, the history of purchasing behavior before, and it can create different segments. So it can allow you to personalize your marketing campaigns and really align it to the specific target audience. And also, it can help you with the predictive analysis. So basically, based on the data, the machine learning can see which customers are more likely to buy your products and which customers are more likely to withdraw. So we also got that knowledge from the machine learning, which I think it's a great.
Which industries use machine learning?
Actually, I wanted to ask audience, I know that there are not so many people here, but maybe do you have any ideas in what other industries besides the digital marketing the machine learning can be used? Anybody? Yeah. Exactly. But there are way many more. I was actually surprised when I was going through the subject more in depth. So you can use it, for example, in e-commerce. So when you want to forecast the demand, so you want to see when and how much your client's gonna purchase in the future. Also the pricing strategy is helpful with that because you can kind of adapt your pricing strategy based on the machine learning. And in the healthcare, I think as you mentioned, because you can actually personalize the experience of the treatment. So based on your history before, like with the diseases you had before and like the medicine you were taking, they can predict what would be the best treatment for you. Also from the financial sector, which is like, all the frauds, basically any unexpected behavior happening, they also are able to predict that. So there are many, many possibilities. Exactly. I think now it's too late. Bad reflex.
So how does machine learning actually analyze large data sets to, identify patterns and trends for digital marketing?
Yeah, so firstly I want to, in general, speak how the algorithm itself works. So basically when it starts, it just obviously collect all the data, but the data are different. They can be text, they can be images, there can be many different types of the data. So then the algorithm needs to learn the suitable language to actually process this data. And then it starts the training part. So basically it's learning and learning and learning and go more in depth to understand all the relationships and all the patterns between all the data. And it's to this amount which we as human would be never able to reach, especially with predicting the new data. Because after setting up the relationship and patterns between the data, the machine actually starts to predict new data. And then after some time, and of course, more learning and learning and learning, and that's where the human is, because we need to actually check if the patterns created by algorithms are right and aligned for our business. Then we can scale more within the machine learning. So how does the machine learning enhance the effectiveness of real-time bidding in digital marketing?
So I think a lot of it that we've already spoken about, how it's targeted segmentation of the of your users, of your audience. For example, if we are here at the conference for marketing, perhaps we are going to start getting ads for more such conferences to attend, right? Or maybe some tools for marketing, or maybe a software for marketing. So it's segmented us in that manner. Also, it's a more efficient way of working because you are actually working primarily with people who need your product. You're targeting those. So it's certainly all your budgets are efficiently used, right? Then we are also, talking about the ad relevance being relevant to the person in the context, right? So for example, if you're sitting here in the for a marketing conference attendee, it'll probably show you marketing books, marketing courses, but when it probably recognizes that you are in your personal life, it might probably tell you what clothes to buy, what shoes to buy. So it has that intelligence to figure out that, you are a professional in marketing as well as a person who is interested in, say, partying or clothes, or maybe you like to eat, you like to shop for food, whatever other, what do you call, segments that you fall into, because you're not just this other one person. Also, of course, that real-time optimization is there, which I explained earlier, that you get the ads. So, for example, if you you are reading on a website and you're reading, say, something on travel, it'll also throw up ads on tickets to that destination, hotels to that destination. So it totally optimizes it. We also have a lot of data-driven and predictive insights. So the machine learning actually knows that, if you as a consumer are likely to buy a product. So that comes in. So it's not just that this is my target audience, but based on previous purchase history, based on your, purchase behavior, it'll actually identify, and it's like a surgical strike on the person, so to speak. It's so precision related that it's actually giving predictive analysis. And of course, the best part is you have full control over your budget. You decide how much you want to spend based on how many, you first figure out your targets, your KPIs. Do you want ad impressions? This is the amount I'm giving. So think of, say, a Super Bowl game, okay? The moment they strike, and if the target audience of, say 300,000 users are online watching that game, perhaps the ad will come up at that moment for those people, and maybe your entire ad budget gets completed in that particular one instance, but you have made an impression on 300,000 people who are watching the game, right? So it becomes, it's very, very cost effective as well. You can start small, build big. That's how we usually recommend, that do not put in huge budgets, because let the algorithm understand you and your needs, and that's how it'll give you the best results.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is very important, like not to put the big budget, and that also is not only for the big companies, it could be also for smaller startups which are just growing and starting, and just learn, you know, like it's like the algorithm learning. You need to learn as a marketer that you're trying out new things, you're testing, and you're putting smaller budget, maybe then you want to increase, so it's constant learning basically. But isn't it scary that we have like a stalker coming with us constantly in our phone and we just allow them to do it? So basically, of course, behind this, there are many challenges.
Yeah, so what are these challenges? What are the top challenges according to you?
I think the most important is data privacy. Of course, as a marketers, we want to use it for our campaigns, for our own benefits, but in the same time, we are also the users and the customers of other marketers. So we care about our data, or we try to care about the data, so we need to be aware that our customers many times are trying to do the same. So it's a really thin line between using the data and not using it in the right way. So for example, of course, we have GDPR and we have CCPA regulations which are allowing to use the data in a specific way. So we always need to align it with our machine learning and real-time bidding strategy. And of course, the algorithm, it's still just a machine. So it requires somehow the control from our side as human. Because actually it's quite a funny fact, but when the ChatGPT was learning and other generators were learning the algorithms, they were going through the sentimentals of internet. So of course, in internet you can find lots of hate, right? So at first, the generator was actually hateful because they went through the data, they saw so much hate over there and like people just not being nice to each other. And the algorithm didn't know that they should use the empathy. Nobody teach them that. So the algorithm started to be the same as many people, unfortunately, on our platform, on our planet. So started to be mean to the users. So then they actually had to teach the algorithm to be more empathic, to understand it, but it's still not to the extent as we as human are. That's why it requires our full control. And as mentioned here, the algorithm can be biased, and that's why we as humans are still very important in that process, because if you just fully dedicate all your actions to the machine learning and the real-time bidding, well, you might be the one losing, not winning. So I think that's very important. Richa, I have a question to you, actually. How do concerns about algorithm biases impact targeting and bidding strategies in machine learning?
So any biases that there in machine learning are primarily what the data has trained it to, get. So if the training is on racial biases or gender bias or socioeconomic bias, even geopolitical bias, if that's the bias we are feeding the training data, then clearly the machine learning is going to come up with that bias. So for example, if it thinks that a woman of a certain age is old, right? And then the biases come that they're going to get, elder care ads, or they'll get ads for, anti-aging creams, or, that sort of a thing. That's a gender age bias that you've got right there. So, but at the end of the day, the machine is only what you train it to be.
Exactly, and that's something we all need to remember. So actually, Do you know any case studies of the companies which were using those strategies already?
Yeah, so actually I have 3 case studies here, as you can see them. There's the Netflix, which is a very big case study. So what Netflix does is that it curates user experiences. So when you look at Netflix, you will get the same titles, but in a different order as compared to me. And what it's done is that you will also have a different image for the same film or for the same show based on what the machine learning tells Netflix about your user profile. So because I share my Netflix account with my husband, my 26-year-old son and I, so each time we change the user, we get a completely different set of content that is recommended to us. And they even say that, they have 76,000 ways of movie genres, and I only get the 3 for romantic and heartfelt and those sort of genres. And my husband only gets the action films, and my son gets, some documentaries. So it's quite crazy.
Yeah, that's why I always know when someone is using my account.
Suddenly you get completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah. And my husband gets really annoyed when my mother uses his account, because then he gets these family dramas and, that sort of a thing. And he says, it's your mother again, and why did she click on my account? So that's what Netflix does. Then Coca-Cola has used real-time bidding on cross-device platforms. So if you're on your phone or your, say, iPad or your laptop, you get the same device. And they've also improved engagement by delivering more relevant and personalized ads. There's yet another case study that I would like to share with you, which is not listed here. And this was called Not Just Cadbury in India. This was in 2021. So we have this festival, Diwali. It's like Christmas for us. And it's celebrated with great gusto. But obviously in 2020, nobody celebrated Diwali. A lot of businesses lost out in 2020, especially the small local businesses. So we have this film star, maybe some of you know of him. His name is Shah Rukh Khan. He's like a superstar, mega star, god of movies, whatever you may like to say. So they actually did, based on your geolocation, it would actually have Shah Rukh Khan endorsing a small local business. Buy sweets from Ghanshyam Das Sweets next to you. But if I was in another part of town, it would probably name another sweet shop. It was like a social responsibility. It wasn't a paid kind of project, but this was there to help small businesses thrive, or whether it's buying clothes. So we buy clothes, we buy sweets. So this was really done really well. But the 4th case study that I want to tell you is about Lavino Kapoor Cottons. I'm sure none of you have heard of it. It's a mid-sized business who are our clients, and I wanted to share that what we did was that we did extremely targeted advertising on pretty minuscule budget for them. So we said he was not very keen, our client was not very keen to start on digital marketing. He says, my money is going to be wasted. So we said, doesn't matter, just give us $10 a day. We don't want more than that. Just give that, let's experiment. And if you experiment, what the results we got was that we had very targeted, relevant ads, and going to the people who were actually interested in his business, So he retails to he manufactures products for major retailers across the world. And it actually went to 2 or 3 of those retailers who actually got back and said, yes, we want to buy our product. And that became, a huge business, because he has fewer clients. It's not consumer marketing, it's business to business. And that's how we used it in a very, very effective way. So the thought really is that it doesn't have to be for always large companies, large budgets. You can start small, see the impact, and then grow the business. So what about you, Natalia? Do you use digital marketing in your on machine learning and digital marketing in your business?
Yes and no. In the same time, yes, because we do use machine learning in Collabee. It's, I would say, personalizing the experience of customers is our main value and our main core, because as I said in the beginning, we just want to respond to the demand which is already there. So basically, the customers come to us, they'll tell us what's the industry of the company, what kind of specialists they need, what's the project budget. And our machine learning system, based on the algorithms which we created, is matching them with the right candidates who are exactly matching the specific filters and the requirements of the project. So we use this, but we don't use this like very specific techniques yet. But since I went more in depth into the knowledge about the machine learning, and I know that it can be very beneficial for the small businesses as well, I will definitely try it in the future. But also, what's very important for us marketers is to continually learning about the algorithm, about the machine learning, about the trends, because it's a new thing, but it's already changing constantly. And there's still not many regulations, not exact regulations, so we need to follow constantly what can be used, what cannot be used, how we can benefit our customers, but also how possibly we can harm them. Because, you know, the technology could be our friend, but it also can be the worst enemy. So it's very important to collaborate with some data scientists, to talk with people who actually have tech background, to understand more what is behind the algorithm. So I think that we are heading now to the times when the marketers are not only the marketers, but we are actually kind of becoming engineers in a way, because to use this kind of technology, we actually need to understand it. And I think that's very crucial, because I still believe that at the moment, many people don't understand it fully.
So what are the ethical challenges? What are the ethical concerns for machine learning and real-time bidding and ethical digital marketing for that matter?
Yeah, I think it's mostly, as we mentioned already, the data privacy. So that's the main reason we need to stay updated with what's going on. What can we do to our customers? What can we not? How to not harm them and their data. And also, it cannot look that, you know, as a user, I imagine that when you go on the website, you hate when you have like ad, and you cannot even see the content of the website. So please don't do it to your customers. Because if we are getting annoyed by that, that means that they will get annoyed. And instead of clicking to the ad and create the impression, they will actually just skip the website completely. So don't choose those kind of websites to work on. And actually, we have a quick question to the audience, and this is, I think, we want to end our today's topic. Is this solution ethical and safe, or is it not? What are your thoughts about it? Richa, maybe you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I think ethics is hard to define. You know, what seems ethical at a particular stage and phase in life or what seemed unethical earlier seems completely ethical now. But yes, I agree with Natalia saying that when you get bombarded with ads, or when you see a bias in the ads, you know, I don't want people sending me elder care homes because I'm a certain age, saying that, are you planning for your retirement? I'm not planning to retire anytime soon. So that gets a little bit offensive as well. So yes, there are ethical concerns, but But I think that on the flip side, there's also one concern I have as a marketeer, that where is my budget going? You know, I'm not educated enough to understand. I may have got ad impressions, but sometimes in just 1 hour, my entire month's budget gets exhausted. Like I gave you the example of the Super Bowl game. So I expected to last that budget to carry on for a month, and it got finished within the first half of the day. And what do I do from there? So I think that we also need transparency on the policies, on how that budget is being set, some sort of education on how this happens. So sometimes, like we had this client who gave us a digital marketing budget, and it was quite funny. It was he runs a hospital, and he wanted a certain specialist, orthopedic specialist community to come for his some seminar or conference that he was holding. And he kept saying that, you know, but I don't see the ad. I don't see the ad. And it's so difficult to explain to him that you're not the target audience. You're not a doctor. You're not looking to go to a conference. So sometimes just explaining that, I won't call it unethical, but it becomes very difficult to educate customers as to where their budget is going. And that's why, as I said, that start small, show small results, and then the customers are going to trust you with more budget and more disruption. But if you want a huge budget for digital marketing and then they don't see it, you know, they get, very often they see the conversion, but they don't see the ad because they're still so entrenched in the physical world where they want to, you know, see a hoarding as they pass by a highway, or they want to see an ad flash in the middle of the film that they're watching, or the, you know, in the series that they're watching, that it's sometimes hard to explain to the customer as well.
Yeah, I think it will take some time because it's still fresh for the marketers. So imagine for clients who have nothing to do with the technology, like it's untouchable, you know, they cannot really see it, then how are they gonna trust you that you actually did something good with their budget? It takes time, but remember, and I think that's the most important summary out of this topic, constant learning. Like, don't trust fully the machine. Like, it's still learning based on the data, but the data quality is important because you're the one who is managing the data, right? So the responsible is on you to manage it good. So you are the owner of your business, and it never be the machine who is owning it. So you are the one making the decisions, and you're the one controlling this. So let's keep it like that, and let's not allow machines take over the planet, okay? We are still here to manage everything, and also the machines. Any questions? Thank you.